Yeah, it's 4:32, so.
So can I call the meeting to order at 4:32?
I am not going to oppose you.
Calling the meeting to order, so.
Decisions without Brian here is very good.
Well, I didn't say you.
Okay,
It's 4:32. I'd like to call the October 7th Joint Water Board meeting to order. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. First on the agenda is to look at September 9th minutes and approve those.
Make a motion, we approve the September 9th meeting minutes. Second.
So
All in, oh,
Right.
Wait.
So Doreen is listed, which is fair with me because she's always here, but she's not actually a member of the board. So I'm wondering, do we include do we include people who are here for public participation? If we do that for the town meetings, we have to definitely do things differently because
we can do it if we want.
we don't have to follow the same.
Not sure.
Yeah,
but usually it's board members and others. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's just who's present in the audience.
Yep.
Okay, so we can move on with the motion. It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Second on the list is public participation. I would assume that's Doreen.
Yes, and I did bring up last month about the audit. Again, it's almost 2025. And the last completed audit was 2019. And I know it's supposed to be worked on, and a couple of them at the same time, but it's really a huge lag. And even the auditors, the 1 year said, they really, and this was in one of the management letters or one of the letters that went along with the audit, saying that the audit really should be done in a timely manner. If they found something wrong, with the opportunity to correct it. So then the other thing is the attorney last time talked about the 14 boxes of records to go through and how that an intern potentially helping him, and that's great, but I think you're gonna need to keep an eye on your legal fees, your budgeted line item. So that's my only comment on that for the 14 boxes. Thank you.
And Brian would have to be here to address where the audits are.
And that's what happened last meeting.
yeah.
Yep.
I
We're still on the Brian.
Advise, they're working on the audits. I still didn't invoice. The goal was to get 20 and 21 done this year and heading in that direction.
I thought 20 and 21 were done and they're working on
You said
20.
2019 was the last one?
The last accepted one, that's by the board.
Okay.
Oh, maybe 20 was bonus, and it's 22 and 23. Because I know we're supposed to be getting it through 22 this year.
They were trying to reach 22 this year and I don't
Yeah.
know where we are. But they've got a lot of backlog.
So if it's okay with everybody, I will touch base with Brian and just clarify where we are on the audits. Okay, number 3, plant status report.
We had an interesting month. The quality was fine. We had 12.81 MGD average flow, which is really high. In fact, we took the basins down last month, basin 1 down last month. And when they filled it, they were running the plant at 19 million gallons a day to fill it. So, I mean, it was nice to see we could do that, and the water quality was great. We were going through 2 basins only. And so it was a good test to see what was going on. And it was our newest operator that was running the plant at 19, which was really exciting. He's jumped right in and they're doing a great job. So we still haven't got our UPSs online yet. They're ready to go. They're going to be here supposedly the 14th next week, the 14th to put them online, which should be a good thing.
Oh, November 14th.
No, this month.
Oh, October 14th.
Yeah, just next week.
Okay.
We met with FDA, the Facilities Engineering Association, working on our record. He's working on both. The plan is to get a master plan of our record. There's too many things have been out there and we haven't touched them. So he's doing that and he expects something in this month. And then they're working on a flow study.
I haven't heard anything from those guys on the flow study at all. Contact, like, hold me by it for nothing.
Well, yeah, I have.
They were contacting Mike Welty and people for the broader data a month ago about anticipated population increase and, you know, capacity, you know, towns anticipated capacity needs and stuff like that, but then I haven't heard anything since then.
Surprised there wasn't like a kickoff meeting with them and not like as a group of stuff like that, you know?
Is this the same flow study at New Hamburg?
No, that's a flood study.
Oh, flood study. Okay, sorry.
This is the flow study here that Ty and Bond is doing.
No.
No.
No?
This is,
This
that
is-
term I can't pronounce.
Yeah, Langley.
Oh, yeah, it's the unpronounceable.
Luigi or something like that. Barton Luigi.
Yeah, Bart.
The Judas, Barton and LeJudas, right?
Yes.
That's it, right? As in one of the 12 disciples. No, they did not do a meeting with us. So is someone the point person for them?
I'll give him a call tomorrow.
That'd be great. See where they are, what's going on.
Yeah, maybe we can have that meeting.
Want to invite them to the next meeting, next board meeting? I'm throwing it out there. It's just easier than setting another meeting.
Yeah.
They were supposed to have a draft report in the IMA committee. We were discussing, the schedule was for them to have a draft report in November. So it would be good for them to come and give us a first draft report if they've got it. Or tell us why they don't, right? Tell us what the timeline is.
So Randy, you'll follow
Yeah.
and pass them to the council. Okay. Can you remind me again what UPS stands for?
Uninterrupted, this is
Uninterrupted
power
power supply.
supply, yeah.
I just see brown. I see, and I can't figure out what this.
So does that mean you're still operating manually?
No, this is our new ones.
Okay.
We have the old system in there still.
So it is
So
on,
even though it's not longer supported, it's working.
Okay.
But it would be good to get the new equipment in and get the job finished.
got it.
All right, 4, operating budget status.
We're plugging along through the budget. Right now, we're 75% of the year expended and we got 72% of our operating money spent. So it's that time of year where we're trying to keep it really close eye to make sure we can get where we need to be. I did get some money from the contingency line to support the extra costs that have come through the difficulties.
And the flow study status we kind of talked about already. Do we need anything else for number 5? I think they're gonna reach out to them. They're gonna come either with a report in November.
Right.
Well, if they're
A
not ready.
draft.
Yeah, a draft. And if they're not ready, they don't need to come and tell us they're not ready. They could just talk
Okay.
to you, because then it wouldn't,
Yeah.
we wouldn't get charged for them to come and show
Right.
up and say, we're not ready.
Yeah.
All right. How many engineers are on that? Is it the whole team? Is it 1 or 2?
On the flow study?
Yeah.
It's their firm.
It's a whole firm.
Yeah, I mean, they assign different projects to different people, but I'm sure more than one person's working on it.
Can I join you? Of course. Sorry about that. Hi. Hello, how's everyone doing?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I think that you showed up just in time.
Well,
It's just simple.
Look at number 6.
oh, I did that was completely on purpose.
It's like you had the stage managers.
That's right.
Filter under drain replacement, how's the design from?
Well, we haven't initiated it, so that would be a really good thing to talk about. So the brief update on that is, as we know and we discussed last time, we have financing, loan financing in place, accepted. The application process, they needed to publish the final list. And so we're looking at January till we start rolling into getting that loan application processed. And the very, normal stuff that we collect to submit to that. It's something most of us have been through quite a few times. So that's pretty simple, is to get through that process. It's just, it's a little red tape and bureaucratic process. We've been working on finding good facilities to visit with the staff here, but to start preliminary design, we talked about a methodology last time of sort of authorizing that initial maybe $70,000 budget we thought would occur in 2024. But I don't know, and I feel like I could be responsible for not having followed up on how we were supposed to do that, because I didn't. But we talked about it, but I don't think I don't think anything happened from that point. So, and I'm not sure what we do next. What do we do next, Randy? How do we move
What
forward?
happened at the meeting, we talked about it, and I asked them if the city and town could get some financing to get us through the year so that we could start moving, because we did declare this as an emergency. And I left it to the city and town, and I don't know where that went, but I don't think Brian was at that meeting, and if he was.
He's knee deep in budget. I know that for sure.
Is that what's going on?
Yep.
October 15th is the city's deadline.
What?
He said that
Oh, for the
October
budget?
15th
Okay.
is his the budget deadline. Sorry,
Okay,
Not,
okay,
not
no.
for this, but for what, like,
Yeah,
for everything
he's-
else that Brian is
okay.
working on right
He's buried. I know that.
I mean,
So whatever it's saying, she might spend $70,000 this year, think, but the next 2 months.
Yeah, that's the budget we'd come up with. Clearly, we're down a month again, but I'd like to get, there's a lot we can do as far as the preliminary work that would start right away, to start drawing, start getting, the regular design activities going.
Okay.
So soon as we're ready to go, we're ready to have this project complete. So authorization of the task order would be good, but that we just can't. It's a high dollar amount, but we
No,
can't
no.
spend,
Then
we
you,
can't spend, we
don't
physically
want-
couldn't spend
I
it.
do not want you to do anything until you get a purchase order.
Yeah,
I've gone there too many times.
right.
And it wasn't until I actually gone there, they've been authorized by the purchase order, not the money, and then we can't pay the bill. So we need to make sure we have the money before we send you off on this.
Yeah.
right. And this would be for the design piece, not for the.
We put it all together into one task order, but like very frequently, we, write lines through stuff and say, at this point, authorized to do this only. But again, from a what feasibly engineering could do at this point, we just magically couldn't do more engineering than we can. And at this point, it's very limited to preliminary engineering because we need to meet and make important decisions. And that's not something you all of a sudden can throw a
So
ton of
remind
money
me
at.
from last time, what was the total amount that needs to be advanced? I can also try to track down Brian tomorrow.
So we were hoping, and based on the cash flow analysis in 2024, we can authorize a total of $70,000. And then I know the split is very specific. It's around 55-45, but about 55-45 would need to come from both sources.
Yep. I can check with Mental and our controller, and I can try to check with Brian tomorrow.
Okay,
And the thing is, when we could get the money back from the EFC,
so
EFC will start sending out money, right?
I think they're gonna close. So right now it was the draft IUP. So they finalize the intended use plan. Sorry.
That's fine.
The acronyms, I love them. I love
Send
them.
engineer thing.
I can't stop. So they finalize it within the next, November, they'll say, oh, here's the final list. And then either I'll get the email, Randy might get the email, Dottie, everyone will get the email saying, okay, you've approved. If you'd like to start proceeding with your application for the loan, start sending us this stuff. And so I'm anticipating that in December, January, that they'll start sending us the applications to close the loan.
Just in time to start talking about money. I'm sure you're just well.
Well, he is the money man.
So we're talking about, at the last meeting when you weren't here, there was a proposal to go ahead and advance money for the design of the filter under drain replacement. While we're waiting for ESC funding, in order to get the design work started so that we can move quickly.
This was the 70,000.
Yes,
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, yeah, I read your email earlier this week. So what I wanted to do, and we're in the throes of getting our budget together the last few days. But what I wanted to do is to see what kind of availability we had in this year's budget, Randy. I don't know if I had a chance to reach out to you on that. No, you don't have 70 grand?
Yeah, it's 3%. Yeah, no. This budget this year is gonna be really bad because of the events we have with the filters and then with the controls.
Okay, let's see. Let's
So
see.
you do have, a budget, a capital budget, and that was what I'd like to check status. And maybe we can get some of the capital budget. The city and towns are putting together.
Well, so the capital budget, I want to say it's a capital plan. But not a budget because the town, I know this about the town, but the city, we're not setting aside, I think we had $500,000 in your capital plan is what you'd asked for.
Mhm.
And we don't have $500,000 sitting around for you every year, we're going to be funding capital projects that, filter and all this other stuff. So that's why we have a plan. But I think it's important for us to have that plan. But in terms of having $500,000 sitting around, that $500,000 is the sum total of the city's cash reserve at this point. So
Do you have a capital account? Does the plant have a capital account? Is that what you were saying, Randy?
no,
Budget capital, and as Brian says, in the capital plan and get that approved.
Right.
And then as we move forward to try to implement that plan, we go back to Brian and city and get the plan, get the purchase order, then we move forward.
typically, and that's where we get into the borrowing by the city and the town and so forth. So,
Right.
I think the question really is, can the city and town find $35,000 roughly each to fund the necessary preliminary work that needs to be done? I've not had a chance to go back to EFC to find out if that's reimbursable against the borrowing. I believe it is.
Do you want to check with them about that and then check in? Minal and I could talk with you about that after you find out.
Yeah.
I feel reasonably confident from the previous applications, but they say if the work has not started or started within, it's usually a time period,
Right.
6 months previous to making that application, then it's reimbursable.
Right,
If
exactly.
you had done all the work and then say, oh, now we're applying for a loan, that's not a permissible.
Exactly.
But from my familiarity with it, they haven't changed that. So as
Exactly.
long as it's started, I think it's 6 months, you could have started 6 months before the application period and they still would reimburse
And
it.
when does start? Does start mean construction or start mean start design?
Design, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing I'm thinking about is we have $70,000 in contingency, and we don't want to spend that right now, but when do we need cash?
So
Already asked for 50,000 that to be transferred in my other lines
Okay,
because of the two projects I mentioned, the filters and the control problems we've had.
okay.
So I don't think that's really gonna be there.
So the balance that I'm looking at is 70,000 in this report is not correct.
Well, it's not in the city system. That's the city system's number. So it just hasn't been transferred yet that I know of. But the request is in.
Our system, it's not the city system. It's the accountable system. So,
The new world system, yeah.
yeah, it's the accountable system. So
Okay,
we
yeah.
don't have two separate sets of books.
Brian, from my past, I think you and I have done this a few times. What I think we're gonna see is we've got the draft IUP listing. Now, sometime in next month, they're gonna finalize and publish the final IUP.
Right.
And then it's usually within the month or shortly after that, we start getting the emails saying, hey, you're qualified for this DWSRF loan, start sending us your application materials.
Yeah,
And-
exactly. That's, we're gonna own the budget and all the other stuff. So, yeah.
Exactly. So I'm anticipating that like end of December. Sometimes I joke it's a Christmas present. So that's about the time it comes through. It's end of December, beginning of January. They start asking.
You have a wild Christmas, I can tell.
It's it doesn't take much to get me going, you know?
I know. That's why I like working with you,
I'm easily amused, I guess. But that, you get that email, hey, start sending us your application materials. And at this point, the city, we're reasonably experienced at
Yeah.
providing them. the
So
needed
when do you think you're
materials.
gonna give us invoices for the 70,000? Is it gonna come all at once or is it gonna come?
Oh, no, it'd be like monthly. At this
Yeah.
point,
It'd be physically impossible to spend $70,000 from now until January 1st.
at this point, I'm questioning whether I could get to $70,000. The things we would do is I'd like to start setting up the drawings, starting up the specs. So that's just, it is getting a drafter going, because we have base drawings to
What do you
prepare.
need October, November and December?
Yeah, I mean, I'm suggesting that value because I think that's a safe value. But at this point, we are not doing anything until we have authorization. And now it's mid of October. So I'm
Yeah.
thinking it's 2 months. 70 seemed good. If we spend 50, I'd be surprised.
Okay.
But I would like to get people going on starting the drawing, starting the specs, pulling the technical specs
Well,
together.
here's what I recommend. Let's go ahead and, because we're getting to the end of the year here. And, we've got, as typical in any budget, we have lines that are over and under. And Randy runs a pretty tight budget, but, there are other things that are out of his control. That, may in fact, work in our favor. And I'm just looking at all of the last page, page 2. Things like workers' comp, life insurance payments, health insurance, Medicare, state retirements, all of that is usually pretty good. But as we get to the end of the year, bottom line, I think we can find, 50 grand for you to make sure that we keep you paid. And then we'll get to the end of the year and we'll do a balance. And when we do our reconciliation, for their town, for Rebecca, for Barbara, when we do our reconciliation, I mean, that's where we all, pay each other, at the end of the year. I don't see 50,000 as being a showstopper for us we should get a jump on the work.
I think it's just the nature of it. It's important
Yeah.
I just don't want to see another one go down because it took it was out for a month. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to see $50,000 stop us from doing that.
To give authorization to proceed forward?
And this is what I'd prefer. For my bureaucratic purposes is we sign the task order, the whole thing, and then we write a note and say only authorized for $70,000. Then I'll just be able to get an email from Randy or email from you and say you're authorized for this much or authorized for the rest, but I don't have to refile it. But
Didn't we already sign a resolution for the work?
no,
Okay, we signed resolutions for the borrowing, correct?
original to the, no,
The EFC to get the borrow.
the grant application,
Grant.
yes, but we haven't,
Well, grant and
We
borrow.
haven't heard yet from the grant.
we have not.
Yeah, and that's what Aaron's referring to is once we get on the IUP and
We're
then,
on the draft IUP.
yeah,
The final, but then around the same time Christmas presents around the same time as they usually finalize the IUP, they will announce the WIA grants.
the grants, the grant portion. So,
And if we did not get the WIA grant, what would we do?
we're doing market rate borrowing.
It would all
the
be
whole
market-
thing.
Well, you're gonna get the EFC loan, so you get the EFC interest rate.
Yeah, and I was,
Things budgeted all this work is budgeted in the EFC grant with, not the grant, but the EFC funding. The grant would just reduce the amount of money.
yeah, you had to go to your council for permission to
Right,
fund the whole thing. So the full faith and credit of the town is behind that.
But, and that's what they required. So They-
That's standard practice.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
was a little surprised that, because, market rate, maybe it's better, right?
I mean, I was frustrated with this last month. I had multiple go back and forth with Brock at the New York State Department of Health.
I haven't had time to call Brock.
I would like you to call
I'm
Brock
like,
because
what do you mean market rate? What are
Yeah,
you talking-
why? Well, he's saying now the town of Poughkeepsie is too wealthy. And I said, well, we've always applied as one entity. Should we be applying as two different entities? And
Well, that was
he's,
our
the
intent.
last board meeting.
yeah, at the last, and he
Oh.
said, no, absolutely not. You apply as one entity.
No.
And oh, yeah, so I would appreciate,
No,
yeah,
doing that.
well,
It doesn't make any sense.
I agree.
We've never done that.
We've never been penalized. No, you are the Poughkeepsie Joint Water Board as the applicant. That
Right.
was the applicant for you.
Right, but the
then you
joint
close
water board,
With both
we closed
separately, and he's saying you scored where you did because of financial need and the town's financial need. I don't mean in politics, but injured the financial need of the overall project. And that sounds ridiculous to me.
Yeah, that's not happened in the past. So yeah, I need to call him, but I don't have time to do it the next week or two.
Understood. I don't think the next week or two, but I would say before the end of October,
Yeah,
if you would, or anyone would like to voice their comment about that, I would appreciate
I'll
it,
call Brock
because
directly, yeah,
it's, to me, I don't understand how the city should be penalized
exactly,
and the city should be getting a 0% hardship loan,
correct,
not, and it impacts EJ areas.
exactly,
I
exactly.
I think that's
It
not
flies in
right.
the face of all of our federal legislation right now.
Said to him, everyone did their great job, all your documents, you have independent signed resolutions completely from the town and the city, let's just go to 2 loan applicants. And it's like, nope, we don't do that, that's not how you're treated, and it seemed like there is not room for conversation for me, but there could be room for conversation for someone.
Oh, we'll give it a whirl.
As well, haven't ever talked to him before, but if that would be helpful to call sooner, I'd be happy to give it a try, but it's really the city that's.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I
it's the
think,
city that's
because
advocating here.
it's, the joint water and board, or the joint water entity of and in itself has no fiduciary responsibility.
Mhm.
It's the city and the town. So we're not taking out this loan, and
As the joint, no, we do
Exactly.
not.
Well,
We
and,
each
you know,
independently close.
Is this a very rare setup? Is that they just don't understand the setup
I-
or?
We just did it.
I
Yeah.
we
It's
both-
all project. I-
exactly.
And you didn't have the same problem.
No, that's all you qualify
So
for
for,
hardship.
and
And
correct me if I'm wrong, Randy, but the UV project, and what are the other ones we've done
Ozone.
recently? Ozone, those were all separate loans, separate bonds.
and this would be too, which is why we collect all this data, but
Exactly.
I mean, Brock has been our contact for the financing through the previous projects.
Yeah.
So,
What was our value on this? 2-1? How much was it?
so, oh, you know what? I don't remember where we're at, but they're around there. Yeah.
Yes.
He shouldn't be saying the whole entire project is market rate because of one applicant or the other. I just don't think that's right, but
Yeah, and I don't want to be so cavalier as to say that an extra $10,000 a year in interest is insignificant. That's just not how we run.
well, I know market rate is getting better, right?
Yes.
So that's
But
good,
0.
but 0 is better than that. Yes, so
Pretty sure 0 is better than market rate.
I think at the last meeting I had identified there were 2 very similar under-drain replacement projects as well that scored better, and that was the explanation was, well, they got higher scoring on financing and need, and hence the conversation rolled from there.
Did he mention, what's the PPU on this? 20, 30 years?
Oh, the
Or Probably.
it's 30-year.
It is 30
Yeah,
years.
30-year.
Yeah, so, yeah, he's gonna say, yeah, Brian, you're whining over a few $1,000s. I'm gonna say, you're darn right.
Yeah.
Few $1,000s a year times 30
I
years.
know what they do is we both have the 2 applications and they give you each the funding directly to the city or town. But they consider it one project.
Yeah, that's
The
fine.
hang up is it's considered one project. You know, the city doesn't get a number, the town doesn't get a number.
Yeah,
It's just one number and it probably easy for the police, you know?
yeah, exactly. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't, because the town and city have both authorized the board to do this work. I don't know why you just don't submit your invoices and we'll pay the invoices. And then it said we're getting to the end of the year. So I don't think we're really at risk for the amount of money we're talking about.
I do need a signed off task order though. And again, if someone wants to mark it up, but this happens all the time, like only authorized for this much, that's fine. But I would love that because then I could just get an email to come back when you're ready to say, okay, go do the rest.
All right.
But that's
You and I can probably handle that, right?
for my,
Don't sign the task orders, but since this
yeah,
is-
whoever wants to sign the task order, but just at least from my
we can
contractual.
all sign the task.
Yeah, let's all sign it. From insurance perspective, I shouldn't be doing design work unless I have a signed task contract. That's
Absolutely.
This is what the task order looks like. That's it.
that's it. Yes.
So it just says, this is it.
Or we go ahead and sign it. That's fine.
And is that for the whole project or
That's
that's
for the design.
for the design
Yeah.
piece?
What's for it's a whole engineering part.
But not just the 70, but the whole cost of the.
That's why I'm saying you can put a star or I'll send you a letter that says we are only.
It's good.
authorized
Sign it and put a little asterisk in there and just say not to exceed $70,000 through.
Until loan is closed.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah, that's even better.
Oh my gosh, this is dated August 5th. What is it? 10th?
Yes.
That's Aaron's fault.
Or it was with you on August
Star
5th.
here or star here?
No, over here.
Yeah, no, do it by your signature line.
Yeah,
Yeah, just, it's,
Authorized $70,000 max.
yeah, until loan signed,
Until
Or-
it's processed.
till loan is closed.
loan's closed, perfect, that's right.
Authorized $70,000 maximum until loan is closed.
Perfect, thank you.
I was gonna say, yeah, what do you think?
So Brian, do you want me to do a purchase order for the pool?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would, or,
yeah, and I want to make sure that the purchase order doesn't cross fiscal years for our bookkeeping purposes.
totally,
Okay, so it'll be through December 31st of 2024. Okay,
yeah. I
For the
don't
whole
need
amount?
original.
Oh, so you want the process, I'll do a PO that will expire at the end of the year?
yes.
Okay.
And then if there's still money left, then we'll do a purchase order for the rest of it in January, February,
Right.
which is probably what we'll need.
Does it make sense to do a resolution just of your intent to basically get paid back with the loan money? I know under state finance law, if you do like bans and things of that nature, you can, I think you get up to like 90 days, 60 or 90 days. So it might be worth just putting in a resolution or motion, and then we can pull together a resolution just demonstrating that this money's being earmarked and it's the intent of the board to have that reimbursed out of the
Not a
money.
bad
It
idea.
might just,
Cover ourselves with some paper.
yeah.
And again, that will document our intent to start the work in October of 24, and then we'll be subject to EFC's rules regarding the length of time.
So then I move that the board clarify that we intend for these funds to be reimbursed from from EFC loan or grant,
Or loan or grant,
loan or grant,
and a portion to the
and
city
a
and
portion of
town.
the city and town when reimbursed from the grant or loan.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Just a quick heads up, so once we know, so one of the grant, we'll have an amendment onto this that will have the contract terms that are the either state and federal. So we're gonna have to come back at some point and amend it to have those legal requirements based on the funding. So
Unless you like it.
Okay, that's fine. So
I owe you a sample lead service plan.
we'll send you a sign.
Yeah, you forgot about me.
We'll email you, I'll do
Yeah,
this
yeah.
tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Sounds good. Send you a link.
I wonder when I was here from you. Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I know. I thought about it.
I need a
Mhm.
new note. I need
Mhm.
another.
You need one of these fancy things here.
Yeah, yeah.
Come on now, step up, step up.
Sorry, number 7, staff promotions.
Okay, in the contract, it says that if the operator reaches a 1A grade license, that he'll be promoted to a grade 13. Brian Cusick for his last, some earlier this year, and passed it, and he just recently received his 1A license. And Ron Perry, who was hired as an intern, there's the operator trainee, came with the license, the 1A license. For him, I told him I was still gonna hire him as an operator trainee, and so I thought he could operate the plant. Now he can operate the plant, he's done extremely well. And that he should be getting the same thing as get the 1A, so it'll be the 13 also. And so the city asked that I just get a resolution, or not a motion passed by the board to take this action.
That's not, the grade is not dependent on how long they've been here. So one has been here quite a while and the other just arrived, but
Right,
the
but
grade
it's
is
only
the
on
same.
grade 13, the grade 1A. And the reason is, the grade 1A is really the highest for a water operator. That's the license you need to have my position. It shows a lot of education, a lot of knowledge, and that's why I wanted to recognize it.
How many 1As do we have now? Just curious. 4 1As now?
Yeah, there'll be 5.
5. Okay,
Myself and Al, and then 3 operators.
okay. And what's the impact to the budget? What's the rate?
Since we didn't fill the position that was budgeted for the whole year, we're owing, it's not that much. But again, the contract says that once they get to 1A, they should get the promotion.
Yeah, so what's the delta? I'm just curious about the hourly change.
I didn't put it in the thing, I didn't put it in the numbers. But I know this year we're right now, we're at 62% for the operators line. Versus the 75% spending.
Yeah.
And that's because we have the positions that aren't expended.
Can you follow up by telling us what the changes in hourly rate?
And that's exactly why, based on Randy's vacancy factor, if you will, there's probably enough money in that line to pay for this 50,000 or whatever by the end of the year by the time we do our reconciliation. We don't have the authority to move money right now at this point in the fiscal year between salary lines and capital and equipment. But as we do the reconciliation, then we close everything up. We will have the authority to do that. So I'm not concerned about that. I was just curious about, what kind of a pay raise this is. Kind of exciting.
It's usually like 3% per grade, something like that. Like moving from that's a grade 12 to a grade 13.
Are they both at 12 now?
No, Brian's at 12 and Ron is at 11.
Yeah.
It's exciting too that Ron had enough wherewithal to get that really quickly, like, I'm happy
Well,
that
what happened was
he needed.
his application came in and he has a grade 1A. And so I only interviewed him, or we only interviewed him. And the reason was he had made a deal with his boss that if he gets a grade 1A, that would give him a salary increase. Well, then the boss changed. And he would give me, he said, why should I give you more money for doing the same thing you're doing now?
Wow.
And so Ron applied here and we're very happy to have him.
Good.
Wow.
So,
His other place wasn't union?
well, it's probably union, but it's still, it's a promotion.
Oh,
And that's why it's in our contract here.
yeah,
Because it just makes it a lot easier than having to go through that.
sure.
But it can be, the person, forget it, I mean, you're doing it, they want to give you more money for it.
So we need a motion on the floor to promote these guys. Is that where we're at?
Sure.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor for the promotion to grade 13?
Aye.
Aye.
And I have to tell you how often we get clients emailing me saying, do you know any operators? It is really hard. I can't even believe someone would have done that and you have the benefit. Like, hold your operators. It is tough. People are
Especially
looking
when
for them
they're not-
all
Yeah, you gotta hold everybody in this industry. You gotta have retention on everybody.
100%.
It's too, it's difficult out there. You're fighting a lot of different options to keep, employees that are trained in water areas.
So competitive. Congratulations. That's great.
Congratulations to them. Number 8, the trailer versus tractor discussion.
I wanted to go back and discuss this one more time. The last meeting, we agreed that we would go for the tractor instead of the trailer. The trailer is 100,000, the tractor could be up to 150,000. This was approved at 100,000 in the capital plan. And that's why we went out and we went ahead and bid it. But then after that went to bid, we found that our tractor had significant corrosion on it, that it's not gonna, it's a hazard. We took it in and got the corrosion repaired. But our maintenance staff feels that it's more important right now to get the tractor instead of the trailer. I advised the low bidder that we're not gonna authorize the tractor at this time, that actually authorize the trailer at this time. With the intent to try to get the money for the tractor.
Do you need a motion to put out an RFP for the tractor, or did you already get bids for the tractor?
I will have to bid it, but I just wanted to make sure, since Brian wasn't here last time when we did this, I wanted to make sure that he agrees so we can move forward in that direction before he feels comfortable moving in that direction, and he didn't have the opportunity to input on this or that.
Well, like I said, it's, every time we have these capital projects, which this is one, we then have to put the city have to put their money together. We don't have a bucket of capital money sitting around waiting for, these things. We get them funded one at a time. So, we would have to put another $50,000 in the city's capital plan which I can do, but the money won't show up until probably February or March, probably March.
But you don't plan on, you're not buying it tomorrow. You have to go through the RFP process and all that stuff. You're gonna be into the new year anyway.
You're not gonna get it till next spring.
Yeah. And then ordering a truck, if you can't mind get it ordered, it might even be past that. So I know like our highway department was ordering their trucks,
Yeah.
they can order them, but they're pushed out a year or more by the time they
Yeah,
actually
no,
get their
I'm
vehicle. So,
all aboard with the order and shipping time. We got stuff that's not coming to
yeah,
us
so
for
you
3
see it.
years.
So it's,
Yeah, so I mean, so the timing works and we just have to authorize it in our budget cycle. My budget's not due until next week. And then I even have time to adjudicate that through the rest of the year because our budget has to get passed by December 31st. You guys are also on a calendar year, are you not?
But our budget has to be passed by November 20th.
Oh, okay. So you still have time to do an amendment for another $50,000. Is that, Randy, are we comfortable with that number? Am I not gonna end up more than that or?
is the truck out of service yet or is it still in service?
We got the patch done on it and it's in service.
Does it have any value?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll have that. So.
So you're gonna have an income come back from
Yeah,
Hawkins.
The trailer was 100, the tractor's 150.
Right,
Right.
right.
So it's 75 each.
Yeah, it's an increase of 30, or something.
The tractor is
150.
150.
Assuming.
Trailer.
RFP, not the bid, but that's a
Trailer is
rough number to
100.
go with.
Okay. And then what do we think the auction value is?
I really don't know, but I bet it's over 10,000. What do you think the thing would be?
20?
20?
Yeah,
So somewhere around,
yeah.
depending on the market's going, how people hungry for, stuff like that is, 'cause the cost of the new stuff is so high.
Even for parts, with
Yeah,
20.
yeah. You see, even probably pull towards 30, depending on, how hungry it is, I think.
So then that would be if that income was, what's the income from that? If it's subtracted, then that's 65 each,
Exactly.
maybe 60 each.
And if the price goes up, then maybe it's 70.
But that 100 has already been pulled out and it's already sitting there or no? It was just authorized.
It's not authorized. You're saying it's authorized, but it's not.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, nobody's borrowed the money.
Right.
Nobody's come to the table with money.
Right. Okay.
So, and that's the,
So then I have authority to go ahead and bid it. Put it to bid out, get that going.
yeah, I make the motion and allow Randy to go bid the tractor pending the identification of resources by the city and town to pay for it.
And we are withdrawing the authorization to bid the trailer,
Yeah, I just told
Right.
people.
which I think we made at the last meeting.
What's the
right?
life
So-
No,
expectancy?
we did not authorize the trailer.
We didn't vote last time.
We did not authorize the trailer purchase. I had said last time, I don't want to buy the trailer, I want to buy the tractor.
Okay, got it.
And so I told the low bidder that, yeah, you're the low bidder, but we decided we have another problem, we have to deal with first.
What's the expected life left? I can't speak it out, spit it out. How much time is left for usage on the trailer? Or that is not safe on the road to use?
We'll get
Let's
to
see.
next year.
Okay. I wasn't sure how crucial it was. That's why I was asking.
No, my maintenance definitely was more to go this way versus that. And then,
Okay.
There's notes.
Yeah,
EPA audit is number 9. How did it go?
EPA was here last week and we had gotten this lengthy letter saying we're gonna come audit you. And it asked to interview, to look at everything, from, O&M manual, emergency plans, SOPs, standard operating procedures. And so we worked as a team here, got to work together. They came in last Monday and we presented all the information up on the big screen, which was great. Thought he did an excellent job of getting all the information up. And when they left, they said, this is extremely well-run plan. So that's a good thing. We were very happy with that, very pleased. They said, we've seen some crazy things, but this is just so nice to be here with you and to do it. So what they do is they put out a report in like 90 days, 70 days, he said. But it's just to the bureaucracy of EPA that it takes that long. But he has to put the proposal together. It's interesting what they did was they had 3 people and I think Tyler was a guy that, when he did the plant, and then one of them did the city's distribution and one did the town distribution. So all three of us were audited last week, city and town distribution and the plant. And they were happy with every one of us, so I was really impressed.
You said there'd be any recommendations at all? I mean, I,
There will be recommendations.
yeah, good,
Yeah.
good. I mean, that's an honest look because I think we should embrace,
Mhm.
you know, any critiques based on best practices. And then we can figure out how we can make improvements. I mean, this is really, we should all be embarked on a journey of continuous improvement.
Well, we're talking about this in the town that, you know, it may be different for the city, but sometimes it's hard to get your grant applications up in the pile until someone has told you that you're, you know, right? If you have a well-run system, it's like, well, that's fine. You can find the money to run it yourself, right? And if your system is on its last legs and has been neglected for decades, then they'll give you money. So it doesn't hurt to have that extra statement that, you know, here are a couple of things that are that need to get done, right?
Well, we gotta
In the
just look at,
context of a positive review.
There was, I wanted to commend Dottie did a great job. She put everything together and did a ton of work. So thank you. Seriously, that was really good.
Our side wouldn't have went as good if it wasn't for Dottie, that's for sure.
That's 100%.
She made it come together for us, that's for sure.
And the one thing that they said was that they were amazed that we embraced them. Most people fight them and push them away, and we were like, come on in, look what we got.
They were very happy when I told them, like, want your opinion on stuff
Yeah.
that could be better.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, okay. Like,
Yeah.
well, you know, sometimes you need a perspective on things to
good for you guys. Yeah.
do better. You know, like,
Well
that
done,
was great.
everybody.
So
Well done,
Good.
Great.
everybody.
it was a great
Very good.
experience, actually.
Everybody, and you said this is the first time they've ever come to audit you since you've been at this.
Oh, yeah,
point.
but they were bringing this board back to us, so, and what happened is this, I guess. Government decided that every water utility with greater capacity of $10,000 needs to have audited, I think, in the next 5 years.
Oh.
But that's their goal, so anybody has 10,000 customers, they're gonna be not. So it's good to get it over with. They had done an audit a couple of years ago in Rochester. And it ended up that we saw the letter that the guy in Rochester got. And it really opened some eyes and we started working hard. And then we signed.
Couple years ago.
And
You saw
Yeah,
that
we
letter
signed
a
that
couple
letter.
years ago.
And it was the same letter.
This was like phase 2 of their audit actually coming out and being feet on the ground. Like they started their audit back in May. Where we had supply with all kinds of information that Dottie uploaded and organized and made there for us. So it was really,
And the letter they sent wasn't friendly. It was like.
No, it was mean.
Like,
It was
we're in
mean.
trouble.
The
We don't want
Rochester
one of
letter.
those.
No,
No.
from EPA.
from EPA to us.
It wasn't friendly. It was like, oh boy.
It started in May, or again, February, April, when they want all this information in by May or whatever it was. So like we were all trying to get all the information and Dottie's uploading everything and, you know, it was, then this, I prepared you like, oh boy, this is gonna be rough. And then they came in and like, oh, this place is great. We're like, oh, well, we'll try.
Yeah, it was great. It was a really good experience.
Did they have any feedback on the filter situation? Is that?
They didn't even look at it. I did show to them that we have capital budget for, we got the filters going right now. I explained to them that Chippy's out there and I explained to them that we got coal tar down by our intake. And just so they knew, we have some high lists here with things, but they didn't seem really interested in that at all either.
They did mention that they were going to mention in their report about their concern about the coal tars.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's
I also
leverage
mentioned-
as well.
I explained that we're doing a flow study. We're also doing an electric study to make sure we're getting those things in line to include that. And again, it was great. So everything was right there on the screen. So they go right there to look at. And it was interesting. What happens is that when we do a monthly report, the computer generates it. And what happens during shift, if a filter goes offline, there could be data that's coming through it, but it's not in operation. And there was a few points that they found that the turbidities just weren't right. And so Al could go back to the operator's room, get the daily log, and came in and showed him on the daily log what happened during that period of time. And that's why that number's not right. And it was really.
Down to the minute.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was awesome.
amazing. It was like, yeah, we got our shit together. It was good. Like, yup, here's the problem with that data point right here.
Yeah, and
It was awesome.
They were great. So it was interesting afterwards, Ed Steve came to me and said, I'll tell your log, I'm taking it back and I'm gonna tell my operators, you start writing the log.
Yeah.
Because my logbook's empty, it just says the time and who, when they came in, there's no more comments in there, so that is good too. I like that.
Okay,
Cool.
kudos again. Number 10 is old business, and I know that we kind of double backed and put a lot of that old business in the agenda.
I think we should talk about the IMA. We're meeting again on the 18th, I think, and we expect to have a we're still working through getting those 13 boxes of materials together and making sure particularly, I don't think we need all the unsigned contracts as so much as we need the document, the signed contracts, the third party and all of that, the amendments, we need those critical documents to make sure we know where we stand with everything. And then we're gonna have a meeting, we're gonna be asking the town and city operators to come in and talk to us about, just like, give us a map of the system and talk with us about the system as a whole. There's a lot we can't do till the flow study comes in, but that's not too long. That's November, December for a final report. And at that point, we have some more information to work on. But so we are continuing.
Great. Any other old business?
Just wanted to point out when we invite the operators, we've seen about Rich DePilco for sure. But if you're available, we might want to have you there as well.
So,
Yeah.
just shoot me an email. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Any new business?
I put in there that I would like to have vacation approved from December 4th through December 15th.
Make a motion, we approve Randy's vacation.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye. Okay.
You should tell us where you're going. No, just.
So I think our next meeting,
Check on the destruction.
that sounds like.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, next.
That's salary.
next meeting.
Yeah, we probably should.
November.
I think we need to be in executive session for a little while here to discuss salary, a particular individual salary matter. But we also can't meet again on October 7th because today is October 7th. So we need to have a.
November 4th.
Is it for
Yep.
4th?
That's what I've got on my calendar is the 4th.
And that's
Yep.
not,
That's the day before election.
it's okay.
Like,
What-
doing
It's
like-
usually the first month.
Columbus
Yeah, we
Day and
usually
then,
do-
what is it, Veterans Day?
The Veterans Day, the following.
It's the following, okay.
Yeah.
11th is Veterans Day.
Yeah.
There you go.
November 4th, we changed that in the agenda when you,
Okay.
for 30.
Yeah. And I think we need to go into executive session to discuss a salary question.
So we want to second that.
Second.
All in favor?
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Do you need